Hi everyone, Dr. Sonya Jensen here from Divine Elements, and today I'm going to talk to you about weight gain, hot flashes, and brain fog, and how all of that is connected to our microbiome. So a lot of women come in to see me at the clinic, and these are some of the things that they are dealing with on a daily basis, especially when they're transitioning in that perimenopause to menopausal years. And one of the things that I don't think a lot of us understand about our hormones is how intimately it is connected to our gut health. So here I have a little drawing for you about how estrogen specifically works in our body. So estrogen is really high during our menstruating years, and come menopause it starts to decline. And the main estrogen type that's high at that time is estradiol. And estrogen, even though we talk a lot about the xenoestrogens from the environment and being in a state of estrogen dominance causing problems such as PCOS, endometriosis, mood swings, heavy periods, actual estrogen, the estrogen that our body should be making and utilizing, has vital roles in our body. For one, it helps our memory, it increases motility in our gut, it's also good for our skin, it helps protect our cardiovascular system, and what you may not know is that it actually regulates metabolism with the thyroid. So how it works on brain health by improving memory is that in our brain, in the hippocampus, we actually have a lot of receptors for estrogen. And if we have the right type of estrogen, if we have the right amount of estradiol, it will latch onto that, and that's where we create our memories. So that short-term memory loss that a lot of us will experience over 35 is because of that estrogen decline that's happening. So it's really important to, one, check to see where your estrogen levels are at, and also check to see what your gut is doing. So when it comes to our gut health and the estrogen levels in our body, our ovaries will produce the estrogen, and it'll go systemically within the body. And then the liver has to identify if this estrogen is from our environment or if this estrogen is actually from our body and we need to utilize it. And it goes through a certain pathway and mobilizes it towards the gut. And then from there, what we need will get put back into the system, and what we don't need will get shunted out. So that is in a healthy microbiome. But if our microbiome is unhealthy, so meaning we have IBS symptoms, so leaky gut, if there's inflammation and we've had lots of antibiotic use, if we're not feeding our bacteria the right kinds of foods it needs, this is what ends up happening. We're still producing it from our ovaries. We are then systemically circulating it in our system. Now the liver again has to identify what is right and what is wrong. So these excess estrogens come from different sources. So some of them will come from pesticides, some of them will come from phthalates and BPA, some will come from our cosmetics that we're using, and there's also the low quality meats and dairy products if they've been injected with hormones. That too, the liver has to identify what is ours and what is outside. So there's a certain bacteria, a group of bacteria in the gut called the estrobolome that are in charge of utilizing information from estrogen and also producing estrogen. And what will influence the communication there is the toxicities that are coming from the environment, is the leaky gut, is the anxieties, is that gut-brain connection. So if that is not utilized well, if it's not functioning well, we will increase an enzyme that we have called beta-glucuronidase. And once that enzyme has increased, it's going to cleave the estrogen, and instead of pushing it out of the system, it's actually going to push it back in. And this is where women get into that state of estrogen dominance. So this is where things like PCOS start showing up. This is where things like heavy periods, irregular menstrual cycles, and also endometriosis, fibroids, cysts, like a lot of these different issues that a lot of women today are dealing with have to do with that state. So you can see it's not just about the hormone. The hormone is the messenger, but what it really has to do with is our gut health. And also not to villainize estrogen. We need estrogen for health. We need it for our memory, we need it for our skin, our cardiovascular system, for our bone health as well. So some of the foods that can allow not only a healthy microbiome with diversity, but also are estrogenic in its effect are things like flax seeds, alfalfa, utilizing those, yams, olives, chickpeas, lentils, really whole foods. And if you're going to have meat, to make sure they're high quality, good source, grass-fed, organic, and don't have any hormones in them. So now how do we create that balance between all of this? The first thing we have to do when we're trying to lose the weight, to get rid of the hot flashes, work on that brain fog, is to detoxify and create more biodiversity in our microbiome. Because we don't want too much of this enzyme and we don't want too little of it either, because there's a fine balance with all of it. So if you're fasting, if you're detoxifying, if you're eating the right prebiotics that the bacteria, the estrobolome, need, all these things will start to shift. So if you have any questions about any of this, please write it down in the comments below, and I'd be happy to share anything else with you.